Hi Tarot friends, it's Jade here with Tarot Your Truth. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my channel, especially if you're a return viewer. Welcome back. I really appreciate all of you spending your time with me as I talk about things that I learn and the things that I love, mostly which are tarot related or divination related. Excuse me. I've been on vacation for a couple of weeks and I've been off of social media for a little while for the most part because mostly because I haven't had internet connection. So I was on a cruise and I wasn't paying the astronomical amounts that they were asking for in order to have Wi-Fi access. So you may have seen videos come out through my channel before, mostly on either a deck walkthrough. I think I have 1 or 2 deck walkthroughs and 1 or 2 videos on my Walking Through the Tarot series where I go through one card and show all the different versions that I have, or most of them. But those are pre-recorded, so and they were set to come out on specific days. So I was, the month of February has sort of just really flown by. I've been dealing with health issues and sickness, and I just haven't had any real, I don't know what the word is. Not that I haven't been inspired by the tarot, but I just haven't had any energy actually to do much. So we'll talk today. This is my February wrap-up video. I did do some readings and I'll talk about that. I've had some new decks come in. We'll talk about that. I did do some modifications, so actually quite a few modifications, even though I wasn't feeling well. And doing the modifications for me was one way to stay connected with my decks, even though I wasn't doing the readings that I had planned to do. I'll talk about a little bit about my vacation, what I took with me, and then we'll also what I've been reading, and then finally I'll close out with what I want to work with in the month of March. So, new decks that have come in. So first of all, if you have visited me before, you'll know that this is supposed to be a not an alcohol. Not an alcohol-free day, but it's not supposed to be a zero buy. It's supposed to be a low buy year for me. And January, I think I did pretty well. The only decks really that came in January were ones that I had pre-ordered in 2019. And in February, I sort of fell down a little bit. So I did get a couple of decks that I had pre-ordered from quite a while ago. But I also did purchase a few new decks, and I blame several YouTubers several fellow YouTubers for this because, well, let's just say they kind of sold the decks for me. Anyway, so let's get started. So the first one, I'm going to talk about Oracle decks first. So the first deck is this one here, the Moonology Oracle cards. Now this is a deck that I've been eyeing for quite a while, and I just never hit the trigger on it. But I guess that Hay House was having a huge sale, and there's the backs. Hay House was having a huge sale, and normally that doesn't make sense for it to come to Canada, but I checked Amazon, and Amazon had it for less than half the price as well, so I was able to get it with the Prime. So I couldn't really say no. The book is pretty good. I will do a walkthrough on this, so keep an eye out for that. I won't go through all the cards now, but I just really love, I don't know, the moon has always held some fascination for me, and I really love the matte cardstock. I love the little sayings on the bottom, and then all the various phases of the moon. So that is deck 1. We'll talk about mods actually as I get through decks, because some of these, although I didn't do a lot of readings this month, one of the ways that I stayed connected with my decks was actually to do different mods. So this one I did a deep sort of indigo blue. It's a little brighter than the backs, as you can see, but I I love it. Absolutely love it. And I've not worked with this deck at all yet because, as I said, I got it, I think, a day before I went away. And so all I had time to do was to do the mod. Another one that came in just before I went away is this one here, the Vintage Wisdom Oracle by Victoria Molesley. This deck, I blame another YouTuber for, because it wasn't on my radar. I think it might have been Mary Grace Farron. I don't think Mary Grace watches my videos, but Mary Grace, I blame you. And thank you very much, because I love it. So this is the little book. And here are the backs. Very pretty. And then the fronts are these very cool, just old vintage photographs. And if you read the book, I did read the book. The book talks about, you know, how this deck came to be, and it was all from just sort of all these old vintage photographs and documents and whatnot. So, like I said, I won't go through it all here. I will do a walkthrough, but I just find it gorgeous. I love that there's just one word at the bottom, and you can sort of, you know, take things as you go. I did a deck mod on this one as well. For this one, I used this old red, which I love. It doesn't really match the backs, but I find that it goes well with the little pops of color. There's a lot of red, pinks, purples on these cards, so that's why I did that. So that's the second deck. That's the Vintage Wisdom Oracle by Victoria Molesley. Let's put that over there. Okay. I have one more oracle, and again, this came, I think, this came while I was on vacation, actually. And for this one, I blame our friend Papa Squirrel. Brian, this is your fault. Thank you very much, because I do love it. And this is The Magic of You Oracle by Fiona Horn. And I think I was watching, I think just before I went away, I was watching Brian's video on all the decks he received in January. And he talked about this one. Let's see that there's even the thing still there. He talked about this one on his, as part of his collection, I think. And I just loved it so much. So here's I haven't even gone through this yet, actually, because like I said, I just came home yesterday, and I opened this, so I haven't had a chance to even look at the images, nor have I edged it, which I will do. So where's the back? Okay, so these are the backs. I think I'm holding it upside down. There we go. Beautiful keys. And the artwork, from what I remember from Brian's video, is stunning. And I think it's even more stunning in person. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, so I'm gonna go through all those now. So that is deck number 3. I think that's it for oracles. Yeah, that is it for oracles. Okay, let's go to Lenormand. So one of the things I did do in the month of February is start learning Lenormand for real. So I know I was supposed to be, my plan at the beginning of this year was to use January, February, and possibly part of March to work on the Game of Saturn book and my Solabusca books. And I did read a little bit of those books, but I don't know, for some reason the Lenormand bug bit me hard. And so I purchased this deck, which is, I don't know if you can see that really well, but it is the Fairy Lenormand by Marcus Katz and T. Goodwin. Artwork by Davide Corsi. Good old Italian boy. Okay, so here are the backs. I've not modded this either, but I will. And I find that, so first of all, these are actually quite large for Lenormand. Let me see if I can find my other deck here. Just bear with me for one sec. Just want to give you a sense of how big these cards are. I think this is what regular size Lenormand is. This is the Fairy Tale Lenormand by Lisa Hunt. And so you can see that these Fairy Lenormand is quite a bit larger, like 50% larger, or 100% larger. Anyway, actually I found that to be helpful, and I'll tell you why. Because when you're doing a grand tableau and you lay out all all 36 cards, and if you're using the house method, you have to either memorize which card is in what house, or you can use 2 decks. So I would use this deck first in order from 1 to 36. That way I would know exactly what house was there, and then I would lay the cards that are actually for the reading on top of these cards. So I would know, if I'd gotten the house on the birds, then I would know the house was in the house. The house was in the house of the birds. Anyway, so I have found that quite useful. So the artwork is gorgeous. I love it. Love that card. Just gorgeous, gorgeous cards. I'll do a full walkthrough of these at some point as well. And I think if I'm going to be successful at all in doing my low buy year, I think I'm gonna have to stop watching videos. Okay, I have very low willpower. So that's deck number 4. That's the one and only Lenormand deck that came in. Another deck that came in, and again is a deck that I've been looking at for quite some time, but I've always had resisted. So it is the Tarot of the Sidhe. So this one first came onto my radar from watching Jen at Science to Soul, and I don't know what it was. I didn't get it right away because that's what the cards looked like. So there's those black borders all around. I'm not Irish, and I just wasn't sure that I would really connect with these. And from the from watching, sometimes you look at videos. I don't know if you guys find this, but sometimes you see walkthroughs on videos, and you're not really getting the full picture, or it doesn't show as well as it could, I guess. And I think that was the case for this deck. But I kept seeing it come up. It was really weird because in the course of a week, I think I maybe saw it come up like 4 times for different YouTubers as decks that they absolutely love. I know Mary Grace, I think, has this as well. Jen at Science to Soul, and Boho Tarot, Don Michelle. And anyway, I finally hit the buy button. So I did get this again just before I went away, and not only did I look through the images, but one of the first things I did was trim it and mod it. So this is what the back looks like now. So you do lose, I did lose a little bit of the glyph on each side, but that's okay, you can still see it. And, oops. So I cut the borders down. So obviously I cut out the borders on the sides, and I did also cut some of the border on the top and the bottom because they were just really huge. And I don't have very large hands, so this was a lot easier. The size was a lot easier for me, and it was not as distracting. I think the black border was actually twice that depth. And I did take some photos. If I remember, I'll insert them here, but otherwise I'll put them on my Facebook page. And I find that without those giant borders, these images just pop. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, right? Oh, I don't know how some of these got upside down. So this was the deck that I actually, I brought with me, one of the 2 decks that I brought with me on holiday. And I spent quite a bit of time with it. Actually, I did do some readings. So our ship, we were on a cruise, and our ship had a brewery on board. So we spent a lot of time in the brew pub, especially we had a couple of days of not great weather. And I brought these with me, and I just shuffled, looked through the cards, did some exercises, sort of made a story up. You know, I'd shuffle, and then I'd start with one card, and then continue the story card after card after card, and to see how far I would get. And that was a lot of fun. So the other mod I did after I trimmed it was to color the edges, and I used 3 different colors. I don't know if you can tell there. Let's see if I can do this. So I used a yellow, I used a blue, and I used a sort of a silver blue or a steel blue. And I love it. I really love it. How I chose the colors was basically just based on the majority of the color on the front of the cards, more or less. Okay, put these back in the, oh, here, actually. This was the size of the cards before the mod. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, but there's the line, the first card, and this whole second thing is the bottom of the card. There you go. So you can see it cut off over an inch and a quarter maybe, and the top and bottom is about ½ an inch. So I'm not gonna lie, it was tedious to do that, but well worth it in my opinion, and I'm really enjoying this. Really enjoying this deck. Okay, so that was deck number 245. Okay, another deck. Guys, this is terrible. I have just been absolutely terrible. Okay. I believe this deck came, I had ordered it in January, and it came the beginning of February, and this is the Sacred Feminine Tarot. There's the backs. I'm not normally a yellow person, and I might still decide to cut off the borders. I'm not sure yet, but probably not. I have used this one for readings, and I need to spend a little bit more time. That's very cool, actually, the sun and the moon. This is the sun card. Interesting. So I've done a few readings with this, but not too much, but I really do want to. 15, is the devil? Yeah. Anyway, okay, so I won't do a full walkthrough right now. It is a little Scarabeo deck, so you get the typical 6 languages in this. And well, if you saw my videos earlier this year and at the end of last year, I was totally into my Universal Goddesses deck, also by Los Scarabeo, and this is another goddess deck, so which is the reason why I bought it. I love learning and working with them. And I'm sorry if you can hear my daughter, who is stomping upstairs for some reason. All right, so that's that one. Okay, one more I got. And this one, again, is one that I'm going to totally blame another YouTuber for, because it was not on my radar at all until I watched a video or two by Lady Knight of Babylon. And this is the Arcus Arcanum Tarot, which is out of print. And I really like, well, I like all kinds of different artwork, but what I really like about this one, here's the book actually, I think it's a 1972 or something. Okay, I'm not going to spend the time now to do that, but what I really like about this deck is the style of artwork, which is comic book style. So these are the backs. Actually, I think what does that say? EGM. I think that says 1986, but I'm not 100% sure. It's very, 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 very tiny. Anyway, okay. So I really like the comic book style. I've done only a couple of readings again with this. February I've not done much, so love the tower. Anyway, okay. So I won't go through that whole thing. I will do, again, I'll do a walkthrough of all of these for you, so please do check that out if you are interested. I found this deck on eBay, and it wasn't cheap, but I really did love it. So, okay, I'm just gonna take a quick sip of my coffee. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay, because I don't have my my microphone plugged in. All right, so deck that came in, I cannot recall if I talked about this. I might have talked about this. I've definitely filmed a walkthrough of this. I'm not sure if it's posted yet, but I think I might have talked about this. But you can see I love how so this is the Tarot Siren by Wandering Oracle, who is the same artist as or the same deck creator as the Marshmallow Marseille. Same tuck box with the magnetic closure. And as you can probably tell by the name, it is a mermaid deck. The inside of the box is cool. I love this little deck. I've not worked with it at all yet. But I love the colors. You know, one of the things that really irritates me, and I hope this doesn't, you know, if this is not you, then that's fine. I think I'm actually holding these upside down. One of the things that I really love about this deck is the colors that are chosen. I love that they're more muted. They're not as, they're not the bold reds and blues and yellows and greens that you find in many Marseille style decks. And for me, like those colors just, I know there's a purpose for them and there's a reason they're that way, but I find them garish. So again, I'm not trying to insult anyone. It's just not the colors are just not my favorites on the regular Tarot de Marseille. And the other thing that irritates me actually on most TDM decks, let's see if we can find a court card. Well, okay, it's not a court card, but it's a temperance card. But the faces are just better executed. Is that a word? I don't know what it is that irritates the hell out of me when I'm looking at my TDM deck. In terms of the faces, they bother me. And these ones are just much more to my liking. So, gorgeous deck. I'll probably redo the walkthrough that I did of this because I seem to recall that I was doing it while I was in bed on a little TV tray, and I think I was a little bit too close. Anyway, I won't go through the whole thing. I haven't used this yet, but definitely something I'm planning on. One thing that's a little bit irritating is, can you see the bow? There's a bit of a bow there. And considering that's how they came, I haven't used it at all yet, so I'm not sure why there's a bow already, but maybe that'll get sorted out as we go through. Okay, the next new one, which I'm so excited about, and this one, I saw it on Kickstarter, and then I didn't do it. Things tend to be super expensive to ship to Canada. So I didn't back it on Kickstarter, and then I kicked myself, and then I saw all the different reviews of it, and I ended up buying it. So this is a 5-cent tarot. Comes in this lovely box. There's Madame Clara sees all. 78 plus 4 cards. Past, present, future. First edition. Ask the cards. Okay, so I got, well, I'm not sure whether you get two different boxes, but anyway, I did get the antique green version with the same antique green edging. So I didn't edge this, it came this way. And the cards are awesome. So it comes on this, it's kind of like a linen finish. You're not gonna be able to see it, I think. It's kind of a linen finish finish on the cards. And so you get the name of the card, and then, you know, the main keyword. So if you get this card, okay, let me back up. Part of the reason I got this is because I don't read reversals. I think that all of the whole scope of the meaning of a particular card is there, whether you're looking at it straight up or upside down. And, you know, based on what the question was asked and what the cards around it are, you could generally tell what meaning it's supposed to be, whether it's supposed to be in a shadow side or the not shadow side. But I thought this would be cool to get to help me sort of maybe look at it a little bit differently. I'm always up for learning new things, so this is cool. And I do like that the words are not, they don't really take your attention away from the card, if that makes sense. So this is the Knight of Cups. Charmer is kind of the main keyword, but you can also look at romance, proposal, and that one's upside down, so, and that's it, right? So you're just reading, if it comes right side up, you're just reading the words that are right side up, if you wish, and if it comes upside down, then the keyword would be heartbreaker and jealousy and moods. Hopefully that makes some sense. Anyways, but they're just absolutely gorgeous cards. I love, love, love this deck. I have not used it yet. I had debated taking it with me on holiday, but I really didn't want anything to happen to them, so. All right, so I'll do a walkthrough on this. I know that there are lots of people who have done walkthroughs of these decks, and that's okay. I'm like doing my own, putting my own spin on things, and I'm sorry about my dog who's being very naughty right now. Oops, I just dropped the book, sorry. Okay. All right, so that's the next deck. Okay. One more deck, which again, I'm going to blame another YouTuber for. Thank you very much. And that is Brian over at Papa Squirrel. Thank you, Papa Squirrel. I don't think you watch this, but if you ever do, thanks anyway. And that is the Mary L. Tarot. This was a deck that I really had no intentions of ever buying. And I don't know what it was. It was just, I watched lots of walkthroughs, you know, watched Kelly on Truth and Story and several other walkthroughs of this over the past many months. And I never had any intention of buying this deck. Some of the images were kind of disturbing. I don't know, it looked a little bit more too, it looked a little too in your face for me. But for some reason, it just felt like the right time. Here are the backs. It comes gilded with this lovely silver color. And they come borderless. The cards do, you can see that they stick there. Actually, when I first got it, I had to literally peel them off of each other. But they're still kind of sticky. Anyways, again, I just got this the day before I went away, so I have not used it yet. I'll let you know how that works out. Okay. Is that it? One more. Two more. Okay, sorry if that was disjointed. I had to pause there for a few minutes because my dog was going apeshit. Because my other half came home. So, what else? So I just finished showing the Mary L. Tarot, and I'm looking forward to working with it. I think a couple of the cards that I really found disturbing were actually some of the original cards in the first edition, and those are not in my second edition. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I have one more deck to show you. I'm sorry, we're already 33 minutes in, but this one again is because I couldn't say no to a sale, and it is the Crystal Tarot by Elisabetta Trevisan. Okay, so here are the backs. This one again arrived while I was on vacation, so I haven't even looked through them yet. But these are the backs, and I always find it interesting how the names get changed depending on the language, which is really weird, because Crystal Tarot in Italian is not Tarocchi di Vetro. Tarocchi di Vetro is tarot of glass, and same thing with the French. The Spanish, I'm not sure whether that's German, are both crystal tarot, but the Italian and the French are glass, not crystal, so that's interesting. Okay, so here are the cards. Put them back a bit. They are gorgeous. Not sure what's with the white stripe, if that's supposed to be there or not. I'm gonna have to look at that. Seems kind of weird, but I'll do a walkthrough of this. We do have, this is the old style of cards, of low scare barrel cards, where they've got the number of the card and then the name of the card and the different languages. I just love this artwork again. I really love it, and that was the reason I bought this. It's a beautiful moon card. World. So it looks like it is a pip style deck, which is fine. The Queen of Cups, or chalices as they're called here. The coins. Wands. Spades. That's an interesting Ace of Spades. Wow. Okay. Did I show all the suits? Yeah, I think I did. That's the King of Spades. Anyway, it's a gorgeous deck. See how it works. The cardstock is pretty standard low scare barrel, I think. And let's see how this shuffles. Pretty good. I like it. All right, so that is it for new decks. Wow, that was a lot. I went a little bit crazy. Anyway, all right, so that was all of them. What have I been, since we started talking about deck modifications, let's just jump there first of all, before we do anything else. So some decks that I got at the beginning of the year, so in January, which I'd ordered sometime in December or even November, were Soul Cards 1 and 2. And I think I talked about this on my last video. The Soul Cards 2 that I got had 5 damaged cards. And it's actually a manufacturing defect. Let's see if I can find one. But they have this plasticky coating on them. Oh, it's actually got a crease right across. Anyway, these are the backs. This is the Soul Cards 2. And they are by Deborah Koff-Chaplin. I think I first saw these on Mary Grace Farron's channel. And they're so thought-provoking. Oh, here's one of the damaged cards. Can you see that? How the plastic coating is wrinkled all the way down the card. I'm not sure that that's really coming up, but anyway, I contacted them to see if I could get 5 new cards for the ones that were damaged, and they those embroidery are kindly sending me a new deck, so I haven't received that yet. I did mod this in the meantime anyway with this beautiful burgundy color, which matches the backs. So that was one. I'd also, at the same time as I ordered this, I also ordered the Soul Cards 1. And where is that? I might not have brought that here. Just looking at my pile here. I don't know where it is. I might not have. I guess I didn't bring it down. Okay, But there was actually, I forgot one more deck, which I keep in this little beautiful little pouch. The Soul Cards one I really like as well, and I'm going to do the same thing that most or many other YouTubers have said that they've done, which is to combine Soul Cards 1 and Soul Cards 2. So Soul Cards 1 has a blue backing that looks very similar to the Soul Cards 2, just a different color. And so I edged that deck as well in the blue color that matches. Oh, it's really weird. I have the box for it, but not the actual cards. Oh well, they're around somewhere. But one more deck that came in. I can't remember if this came in January or February, but I'll talk about it anyways. Gorgeous backs. I really love these backs. And this is the Romantic Tarot, also by Los Scarabeo. Love it. I haven't used this deck at all yet, but definitely something that I see myself using coming up. Anyways, wow, I have been a total deck pig. And that's gonna have to change, because I really do want to work with the decks that I have and not just always get new decks. Anyway, so Soul Cards 1 and 2 we've talked about. Sorry I don't have the Soul Cards 1 with me here, but what else do I have here? In terms of modification, the other deck that I modified was the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. So I bought this, I can't remember, maybe late last year or maybe January, I can't remember, but here's what the cards looked like. So they had these giant orange borders, like giant orange borders, and I wasn't crazy about them. And so I modified them. I think I saw this, this was another YouTuber, so this is Peekaboo Rose. Thanks very much for showing this. So I cut them down. So the backs are not perfectly even in the original deck. This is not my fault. This is actually just the deck. So you can see a bit of the orange line there, but not on this side. And they're all like that, actually, except for that one. So it was weird. Not all the cards were perfectly centered. And I did measure, actually, to make sure that I was doing it right and even across. I cut off all the orange top and sides, and on the bottoms I did cut some of the bottom as well, because again they were flippin' gigantic. So actually if I go back to here, you can see how much space there is underneath the labels, and that is gone now. So they're a much more manageable size. And then finally I edged the cards in a couple of different shades of orange, which I thought was kind of cool. They're much better for me now. I can comfortably hold them. I didn't do that very well from behind the camera, but anyway, that's okay. They're much more comfortable now for me to hold. I still have to make a pouch for several of these decks. Right now this one is just in a little organza bag, but I've got plans for several more pouches. Speaking of mods, we've talked about Tarot of the She already. We've talked about the Sacred Feminine, the Moonology cards, the Vintage Wisdom cards, the Soul cards, one more which I'm not sure whether I did this in February or January, so forgive me if it's a duplicate. I keep this deck in this little wooden box that I've had for quite a while, and this is my Thoth deck. This is the large deck, which was way too big for my hands, and so I modded it down. You can see I also colored. I used multiple colors to edge it, and I think that the cards here, let's see if I can get these all in here. Okay. I think the artwork now absolutely pops. I love it. So what I did was because I took all the titles off, I just used a black marker to write down the number of the card, and then whatever the saying was. I'm trying to read that one that says science. And it's not, I mean, you can see it more on some cards than others, but I think I did a decent enough job at making them sort of inconspicuous. And I have discovered that if you use a Q-tip and a little bit of rubbing alcohol, that you can't take those off. So at some point, you know, I may feel inspired to remove those, but for now I'm just going to leave them in because I don't know these cards. I haven't used these cards at all, but the Thoth system is one that I want to work with, or I want to learn and work with this year. And I don't know if I'll get to it because I seem to always make, you know, plans that end up being too much for whatever reason. And so, you know, that's fine. If it's next year, it's next year. We'll see where things take me. Okay, one more thing which I would like to show. And this, again, I'm going to blame or give credit to another YouTuber. And this is a deck that I'm making myself from postcards. So I watched Lady Knight of Avalon. If you haven't seen her channel, please do check it out because she's awesome. And she's made oracle cards. So out of some, I think this was one of the ones she was doing, Supernatural. I think she was doing another one with Game of Thrones, maybe, I can't remember. But I had no idea these were even available, that you could buy something like this on Amazon. And so you get 100 images, and they are full-size postcards, right? It's the back. So these are actually the leftovers. So I went through, I think, so Lady Knight actually made oracle cards out of these. I actually wanted to see if I could make a tarot deck out of them, and so I did. I went through and picked 78 cards that I thought would match. Okay. And I've just made them into square cards, square tarot cards. Let's see if I can do this. I used a silver Sharpie to write the name of the card on there. Oops. The devil, of course, right? It has to be Crowley. I love this show. The Tower, the Star, the Moon, the Sun. The Sharpie is a bit thicker than I would like, but that's okay. This is just for me anyway. And then I put on the, so I wrote the whole name on the majors, but on the minor, I just put the number and then this elemental symbol just in the corner, as you can see. So it is of course she had to be the Empress. It is a little bit annoying to me that, I mean, there's so many characters in this show, like so hundreds and hundreds of characters in this show. And I feel like they could have done more than just, you know, Sam and Dean for 90% of the cards, and then some of the other characters just, you know, one-offs or logos like that, logo style like this. Yeah, I really wish that they had expanded. She has to be the magician and the high priestess. Yeah, so I feel like they missed an opportunity for that, but anyways, that's fine. We'll see how it works. It's definitely not perfect. You can see here that I started to mod them or edge them, and I'm doing it in this blood red color. So they're square. It's just for me. We'll see. We'll see how it works. It might not. You know, some of them are a bit of a stretch for the number or the specific card, but we'll see how it works. It's just kind of a fun exercise for me for now. Okay. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's the end of the cards that I have modified or tried to make. And maybe let's talk about what decks I actually did use in the month of February, which wasn't much. So I used the Sacred Feminine for a couple of readings, but not nearly enough. So I'm going to use that again going forward. I used the Crow Tarot, which is here somewhere. I won't pull it out, but I have it in this beautiful wrap that I made. And I used the Crystal Visions Tarot, which I won't take out again, just because we talked about so many decks, and I don't want this to be 3 hours long. Again, another wrap that I made. And I also, the other deck that I brought on vacation with me is in this beautiful wrap, which is kind of a mess right now. And it is my Mystic Mondays. It comes edged in this beautiful silver. So this one came on vacation with me as well. This was a deck that my husband bought me for my birthday last year, and I've been wanting to reconnect with it. So this one's going to stay on my table because I'm not done working with it just yet. Okay, so let's just do that. Okay. What else did I use? I used the new Mythic Tarot, which is another, looks like a big mess right now. But I won't pull it out. This is the new Mythic Tarot. It's not the original one. And I was using this one for weekly readings, which I kind of failed at. I did the first couple of weeks. I think for the second week, I didn't even finish going through doing the nested part. Because again, I just had no mojo. I had no energy for anything after work, and I felt sick a lot, so I didn't end up doing it. And you know what? That's fine. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna get too upset about it, because this is supposed to be a hobby for me, a fun hobby, something that I love to do. And so if I don't get to it at some point, I don't get to it. I'm not gonna get upset about it. Okay, I used Tarot of the She, which we talked about as well, because I brought that on vacation with me, and I did actually get to spend quite a bit of time with it. And the Soul Cards 1 and 2. And then the other major thing that I did in February was actually learn Lenormand, or start learning Lenormand. This was the deck that I used for the majority of it, which is the Mirror Truth. I believe I have a walkthrough of this deck. It comes in a beautiful top box like that. And it came edged with this gold. Now I will say that the gold sort of came off. Like, it looks really worn. I don't mind this color. I actually kind of like it, but if you are one of those people who loves the bright in your face gold, you could, it's, I don't know, you probably can't see it, but it's kind of come off in some areas. So be warned, if that's something that you care about, then this might not be the best deck for you, but I like it. There are the backs, they're beautiful. Here, let's put it down. The house, the ring, the rods. So I spent a lot of time actually learning Lenormand this month, like a lot of time. It was one of those things that I don't know where, it came out of the blue. It was one of the systems I wanted to learn this year, but I think it was a little bit later on in the year, but I don't know what it was. It just all of a sudden just bit me, and the bug just bit me, and I couldn't wait to learn. I read a couple of really great resources. I think I've talked about this maybe on my last video, I'm not sure. But I read a couple of really great resources, and if I can find the book, I'll talk about what those are. But I had Kindle Unlimited, and there were several books on Kindle Unlimited that deal with Lenormand. So I got a couple of those, and I read them. Oh, there we go. And then I was using this journal to write about it and to sort of document and summarize for me. So what I did, so actually this was from something else that was sort of knitting related, and then I used the rest of the journal for Lenormand. So I used kind of a page to summarize the meaning. So this was the first book. If you can read my writing, 7-Day Lenormand, Learn to Read Lenormand Cards This Week by Andrea Green. That book was great. Actually, if you don't know anything about Lenormand, that book was absolutely fabulous, because she takes you through a little bit at a time and sort of builds up, starting from the very nitty gritty and then sort of building you up to get to eventually the grand tableau. And she sort of tells you how to read. Now, obviously, as with anything else, you kind of have to take what she says and then put your own spin on it, which is fine. But so she starts with, she'll start with a 3-card reading. Actually, the first couple of exercises have to do with just sort of familiarizing yourself with the different cards, what they mean, what their order is and whatnot. And then she'll take you through different methods of reading 3 cards, then going up to the 9 card, doing past and future spreads, eventually the grand tableau. And yeah, so that was the first one. The second book that I read, which was great, is Lenormand Step by Step by Kendra Hurteau. Hurteau. And that was so obviously it's the same subject, all about Lenormand, but she took a different tack, a different path, I guess. And that was awesome as well, because I think having done it in the way that I did really helped. So reading that other book first and then this one, I think really helped a huge amount. And then what Ms. Hurteau does is she starts with the 2 cards, and then she talks about, the people in the cards and what they mean, work, so as in jobs, and then money cards, so it's a little bit more in depth in terms of what you can get. So intimate relationships in the cards, posing questions, yes or no answers, 3-card, she goes through the different methods of 3-card lines, card clusters, even how to use Lenormand cards with tarot spreads, which is basically the same way that you would do it with a tarot spread, except for each position you would actually have 3 cards. So for example, if you have a past, present, future card reading in tarot, for Lenormand you would just lay out 3 cards for the past, 3 cards for the present, and 3 cards for the future. So you never are reading Lenormand in with just a single card. It doesn't work that way. We go to 5-card lines. We go to 9-card spreads, and she takes you in depth on how to do that. Very in depth. And then 11 cards, a few other 8 cards, a cross spread, a pyramid spread, the petite tableau and how to read that, and then the grand tableau. There's different nuances, crossroads card, side card, cross card, relationships in the same, in the same row, or using turning points, and then card combinations. I didn't write down all of those. I just did a few just to give me an idea. And then Russian cross spread. I think that was it. Anyway, if you are interested in Lenormand, I do recommend those 2 books. They are fabulous. I got them on Kindle Unlimited, so you can check it out if you are interested. And I am looking forward to continuing my Lenormand journey this month. I had started with, in February, I had started a Lenormand challenge, but I didn't finish it. Again, I just had no energy, which is fine. So I'll probably go ahead and finish that at some point. But yeah, so I did that. So the cards that I took with me on vacation were the Fairy Tale Lenormand, which I showed earlier. I took my mini Morgan Greer, actually just in here, this little pouch. I had my mini Morgan Greer cards, which everyone has seen these, I'm sure. And I also took my Fairy Tale Lenormand, which I showed earlier, which I did mod as well. I think I did this month as well, in pink and green. But actually I never ended up using the Lenormand cards. Mostly because I was having so much fun with the Tarot of the She that I didn't take these to the beach or anything with me. Obviously, I wanted to keep them away from water. So those are what I brought with me. And the Mystic Mondays and the Moonology cards. So I got a couple of cool things which I'd like to show off as souvenirs. And one is right here, which is a Larimar and silver stone, and I really like it. Hopefully you can see that. It looks like a dragon egg with 5 claws. I absolutely adore this ring. Love it, love it, love it. And yeah, love it so much. And the other thing I got was this. I don't know if it's gonna fit in here, but I got a big skull. This was in Customaya. Let's see if I can. So I love skulls. They had a lot of Mayan things there, but anyway, so that was cool. There's the sides. Is there words? No, just glyphs. Not sure what that is. Looks like some sort of script, but I can't tell what it is. So I was told that this was made out of fish bones. Not sure if that's true or not, but this guy is gonna live with me. And those were really the 2 main things. I did get a mug, a handmade mug. but and some Christmas ornaments, which we always buy whenever we go away, but I didn't bring those down with me. Anyway, wow, if you have stuck with me to the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I don't know if I showed this before, but in my box of the Influence of the Angels, so when I was not feeling well in January, I think, or maybe February, I took a photo of all my decks, or not all my decks, maybe about a dozen decks, and Oracle and Tarot, and I made a little mini, so there's, you could tell the size, how many they are. This is the Angels and Ancestors deck, and I just printed them on regular paper, and the purpose was to use them, paste them in my journals. This took a long time, guys. This is the Fountain Tarot. You can see I was experimenting with size. I actually did a couple of different versions. Ancient Italian. Everyday Witch. Again, you see different sizes because I was trying to figure out what size I wanted them. And even the Sola Busca. Yeah, so I have a whole bunch of them in here. La Visconti Sforza. And I just paste them in. This was a lot of work, and I don't think I'll be doing this again. I did end up by getting a HP sprocket, and so what I'm doing is I will be and it's great because it's sticker photo paper. You never need to change the ink. I found this a little bit too large, and what I found actually works really well for me is to either do 2 cards. So I'd put the 2 cards side by side, take a picture, and then print that. So you get either 2 cards or 3 cards. Actually works great as well. Great size for my journals. But there you have it. So if you're interested in trying something out and you have some time, then you can do that. Thank you so much, guys. I think we're about an hour. I can't believe how much stuff I've had to talk about, considering I didn't actually do a whole lot of tarot reading this month. Going forward, I didn't even talk about the books that I got. I did get a couple of books, which I'll just talk about super quick. One is How to Deal, Tarot for Everyday Life. I have the Advanced Tarot Secrets, which is available on Kindle Unlimited, and I had it on Kindle Unlimited, and I decided that I really wanted it in a hardback version. And then because Marseille is one of the things that I would like to learn, I got this in hardcover as well, Tarot: The Open Reading by Yoav Bendov, and then this one here by Liz Dean, which is Understanding Tarot. They did not have the kit that comes with the cards, so it is just the book, but I think this is probably one I'm going to pass on to my daughter. It is beautiful. I haven't read any of these yet, other than the online version of the Advanced Tarot Secrets. That's it for my purchases. I'm hoping that next month I have quite a lot less. In terms of, I'm sorry about my dog. In terms of what I'm going to work on in March, I think I'm going to continue working with the Tarot of the She. I would like to work with my 5-cent tarot and a couple of other, I think the Crow Tarot, I had pulled that out to work with in February, but I haven't really worked with it much. And then the Lenormand will be another thing for me, but who knows, that can change anytime because I'm spontaneous at sometimes. And maybe my Mary L Tarot, I think I would like to start working with that. And that is it for all the stuff that I've been doing. It's a lot for someone who hasn't been doing very much this month and not feeling very well this month, but we'll see how it goes. I absolutely love I love reading. I love all these decks, and I love learning things above all else. So it's been really great. One of the other things that made me super happy this month while I was away is that I hit over 250 subscribers. I think I'm about 265 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much to everyone who has been supporting me, who has been commenting, who has been, chatting with me. I really appreciate it so very much. It definitely wasn't something that was expected when I started this channel, but I'm really enjoying. I'm enjoying meeting all of you. I'm enjoying talking with all of you, and I hope to continue it. So I'm going to do a draw soon. I just have to figure out what it is that I would like to include in the draw. So keep your eyes tuned. If you like this video, despite how long it is, please do hit the like and subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell to be notified of when I post other videos. So until next time, my friends, be good.